So, you bought yourself a Riftbound starter deck and you've been having fun playing with your buddies and enjoying the game. But now you want to take things to the next level and take down a Nexus Night at your local game store, or maybe even a regional level event. If this sounds like you, then stay tuned because we're going to cover how to upgrade all 3 starter decks into tournament-ready deck lists. One thing to note is that when making these lists, we really tried to salvage as many cards from the starter decks as possible. It's not really an upgrade your starter deck video if we took the entire deck out and just left the leader. So these lists are trying to use as many of the starter deck cards as possible. But in the case of some of the decks, I'm looking at you, Jinx. It was really hard to salvage the cards in that deck as most of them are chaff. I think that Jinx got stuck with the lowest power level of the pre-constructed starters. But with that being said, let's jump into it. Who better to kick off a video about glorious evolution than the Herald of the Arcane himself, Victor. The Victor pre-constructed deck is by far the most powerful of the 3 and comes with many of Victor's signature staple cards that are found across all of his builds. A good portion of the cards that we're removing are perfectly serviceable cards, and in the pre-release environment where you'll be picking one of these pre-con decks to use in the tournament, I would heavily consider Victor simply because even the cards that we're upgrading are a lot better than a lot of the chaff found in the other 2 decks. The cards we will be removing are the 2 copies of Orb of Regret, 2 copies of Mushroom Pouch, 3 copies of Eager Apprentice, 1 copy of Heimerdinger, the 2 Sprite Calls, 2 back-to-backs, 2 Consult the Past, 2 Jeweled Colossus, and the single Wraith of Echoes. For selected champions, we will be upgrading our Mind Victor to the Order Victor, and for battlefields, we will be keeping Trifarian Warcamp.
Transformation. Evolution.
And here's the newly upgraded list. Let's briefly go over the cards. We've swapped out the Mind Victor for the Order Victor Leader. This is notably the only epic in the deck. The deck's actually very budget friendly. You only play a single epic amongst the entire 40 cards in your chosen champion. Everything else is going to be rare and below. While both Victors can produce similar amounts of value, I do believe that the Order Victor comes up in more situations than the Mind Victor. And he also most notably comes in at 4 might, which is a huge breaking point, and make sure that this unit that for the most part wants to stay home, though it can attack because it is a respectable unit, it just doesn't die to Falling Star, which is such a big deal. For the main deck, we've bumped Stupefy up to 3 copies. This is one of your premier combat tricks. Great card, draws lots of cards, shrinks your opponent's guys. Then we've kept the 3 Ravenbloom students in. This is just one of your premier turn 1 plays that grows whenever you play spells. We've bumped up Hidden Blade to 3 copies. This is just one of your best removal spells in this color. It deals with anything that's too big for you to get over, or you can also use it to kill your own tokens or other units that are about to die to draw cards. We've bumped Smokescreen up to 3 copies. This is another premier combat trick. It's reaction speed, which is really crazy for the amount of might that this shrinks. Helps you deal with fight spells, helps you capture battlefields and kill units, or play defense against big units better than anything else in the game. It's just such a really strong spell. We've added an additional 2-drop in the Daring Poro, who's just the overall best attacker in the 2-drop slot right now. We've kept in the 3 copies of Soaring Scout. This is just your best turn 1 play. This bird lets you channel a ruin when it dies, which is just really powerful. Lets you push points early and then get rewarded when it's traded over. We've kept in all 3 copies of Cull the Weak. This is just one of the premier reasons to even play Victor. If your opponent is ever behind on development, this card just gives you so much tempo because you only need to kill these free tokens that you're generating with your legend, whereas your opponent has to kill real cards every time that you play this unless they are spawning tokens as well. We've kept in the 3 Noxian Drummers. This is just a fine unit that spawns a token every time it moves to a battlefield, and it also on turn 2 allows you to play this and a token with your legend ability if you're going first because of its 3 cost. We've kept in the 3 copies of Cruel Patron. This is another one of the premier Victor cards. You just sacrifice tokens for this card's costs, which are really easy to produce. And then you get a very, very powerful unit for a turn 2 play. Nothing else can really compete with that amount of might that early in the curve of the game. We've added in 2 copies of Sprite Mother. This is just a great unit that produces a readied token that can attack units. It itself is also a body that can attack in future turns. We've kept in the Grand Stratagem. This is one of your best finishers if you have a wide board, but also one of the best ways to win the game defensively, just moving all your units into a point and then holding up the Grand Stratagem so that there's no way it will ever be taken. We've added in 3 copies of Riptide Rex. This is just one of the premier 6-drops in blue. This thing is usually a 2-for-1 as you're getting a kill and a ginormous body. Great card. We've added in 3 copies of Singularity. This is one of the best removal spells in the game. Hitting 2 units anywhere on your opponent's board, base or on a battlefield for 6 is such a crazy effect, and it allows your tokens to just push into those points once you've cleared the way. Really helps you maintain your tempo advantage, which is what Victor needs to win. And lastly, we've added in 3 Thousand-Tailed Watcher. This guy is only a rare, but he's the most powerful closer in the game. He's the way that you're going to win a lot of your games, getting to 6 points. And then playing this guy, once you get to 8 ruins, you can accelerate him. He shrinks your opponent's whole board and then lets you just take both points and win, or at the very least, kill most of the cards on their field. You will note that we changed the ruin count a little bit. We went from 6 and 6 to 5 order ruins and 7 mind ruins. That's because our deck is heavier in costs for mind, though we do still have things like Grand Stratagem. We want to be able to play our chosen champion, and we want to make sure that we have Call the Week open in the early game to really use it when it's best. So we do still have 5 order ruins. As for the 2 new battlefields, we've added an Obelisk of Power, which is just the best battlefield for when you're going first. This allows you to not only play a 2-drop, but also play a token as well with Victor, allowing you to take double points the next turn. And we've added the Candlelit Sanctum, which is just a great generic battlefield that allows you to cycle through your deck quicker, especially with the tokens. You'll be able to activate this multiple times and make sure that you find all of the pieces that you need for whatever matchup you're in. Not only is this our most budget-friendly deck in the guide, but it's also, in my opinion, one of the most powerful. I think that Victor is set up really well to go into the metagame, especially if we have a lot of dazzling Aurora decks in the format. And this is definitely a great starting point for anyone who's trying to take Victor seriously and take down a tournament. For the next upgrade, let's jump over to the martial arts master, the blind monk, Lee Sin. The Lee Sin Preconstructed deck is a deck based around the buff mechanic. Lee Sin himself gives buffs out to your different units, and it's got very good mid-range capabilities. I do think this is the second best of the Preconstructed decks, and definitely worth considering playing in your release events. It does come with many cards that are staple to this color pair that you could easily throw into a Master Yi deck if you have interest in playing that legend. I do want to be upfront and let you know that if it was me personally making a Lee Sin deck, I would probably be trying to build Lee Sin as a dazzling Aurora deck. But for the sake of this video and maintaining some of the structure of what came in the starter decks, it's not really possible to change this deck into Dazzling Aurora. It would basically gut the entire deck, and you'd only be left with like maybe 2 cards. So I tried to build and showcase a mid-range version of Lee Sin, which has also done fairly well in various tournaments here and there, making some top cuts. Let's go ahead and go over those changes. We will be removing the Mask of Foresight, 3 Wielder of Waters, 2 Packet Club, the Wizened Elder, the Wildclaw Shamans, the Bilgewater Bullies, the Stormclaw Ursine, and Mountain Drake. Once again, we will be upgrading our chosen champion from the body Lee Sin centered, and for battlefields, we will be removing Targon's Peak. Here is the upgraded version of the list. We've upgraded the body Lee Sin to the calm Lee Sin aesthetic. This is just a much better chosen champion to pair with this Legend's ability, and can single-handedly run away with a game by itself if your opponent cannot deal with it, and if you can protect it with your pump spells, your Zhonya's, and your Defies. While Lee Sin centered is a very respectable accelerate unit, I think that the Epic Lee Sin suits this deck much better. Next up, we'll go over the main deck. We've added in 3 Defies. This is just your best counterspell in this color. It lets you counter all of the best combat tricks and removal spells in the game. Pretty much answers nearly every spell that is currently being played. We've added in 3 On Guards. On Guard is a very good reaction speed pump spell. It helps you win battles you normally wouldn't win, or defend on points that you normally wouldn't be able to hold for very cheap. It's really efficient at what it does, and helps draw you cards with the Dreaming Tree. Charm has been bumped up to 3 copies. This is just one of the best cards in the game. It's almost a removal spell most of the time, and can do other versatile things. We've kept in 3 Pit Rookie. This is just one of the best early 2-drops in the game, and it has buff support, which is everything that this deck wants. We've kept in the 3 copies of Stalwart Poro. This is just the best defensive 2-drop in the game. We've kept in 3 Disciplines. This is just one of the best combat tricks in the game. +2 Might and draw a card is really strong text. Any spell in the game that helps you kill something and draws you a card is very strong. We've kept in 2 copies of Challenge. This is a very good removal spell. It also combines with Dreaming Tree to draw you a card, and it hits things at base, which is really important. You do need a unit on board to play it, but it's very, very strong. We've added in 3 copies of Clockwork Keeper. This is just another 2-drop, another turn 1 play, but in the late game, this card lets you draw a card, which makes it really nice. It allows you to just keep the gas going in the late game rather than drawing a really underpowered unit and being pretty sad about that. Zhonya's Hourglass is one of the best gears in the game. You can play it on turn 1, and it helps you protect your most valuable units, which is really important in a mid-range deck. Mistfall, because of your Lee Sin ability, essentially can give any character haste. So normally in other decks, not really a big fan of this card, but in this deck, I do think 1 copy can be really strong, seeing as Lee Sin can guarantee that you always can put a buff on something the moment it comes into play. We've kept in 3 First Mates. This is just one of the best 3-drops in the game. It helps you ready units to either take more points or to bring your units back so that they can conquer other points next turn, or just to bring them back to protect them from spells and abilities that kill things at battlefields, or from just being run over on the crackback. We've kept in a single copy of Stand United. Again, in other decks, not really a fan of this card, but in this deck, especially with your chosen champion, this spell can really make a massive power spike and can sometimes just close out the game for you. So I do think keeping one of these in is very nice. We've added in 3 Kianas. This is just one of the best 4-cost cards in the game. In the body color, she has Deflect, and she can draw you cards or help you channel ruins, so you're typically happy with whatever you pick with her. Just a great card all around. Set Brawler can really shine in this deck, even more so than the set deck sometimes, because you can give him a buff and spend his buff multiple times, and so with Lee Sin's Legend ability, you can bring this guy up to like 12 might really, really easily, sometimes even more. We've kept in the single copy of Udyr. This is just a very good card when you can guarantee buffs. Again, with cards like Lee Sin, he's a very well-statted unit, and the stun can really help you in a lot of matchups, though some of his other modes are very good as well. And lastly, we've added in 2 White Flame Protectors. This is just a really good top-end card in the calm color. It helps your small guys and your mid-range guys smash into bomb units and break over them, as well as being a bomb unit itself, so that it can also take points and cause a lot of havoc for your opponent. We left the ruins at 6 and 6, and for battlefields, the only thing that we swapped out was the Targon's Peak for a Dreaming Tree. Dreaming Tree is a really good card that can get you a lot of card draws, especially when you're playing triple On Guard, triple Discipline. We also have Challenge and Stand United that can trigger it as well. Overall, I think this is a really powerful mid-range deck that has some really good things going for it. It might struggle into certain matchups, but it's definitely a deck that I could see spiking a local tournament or maybe even making top cut at a regional. And our last upgrade guide goes to the Harlequin of the Rift, the loose cannon known as Jinx. The Jinx Preconstructed Starter Deck is an aggressive deck with a discard strategy. You're supposed to get very low end cards in hand so that you can reload your hand using your legend ability. Jinx allows you to draw an additional card every turn when your hand is 1 or lower. And it has some cards in it that allow you to fuel this discard strategy. However, I would say there's not really enough of those in this pre-constructed deck to really see a lot of those discard triggers pay off that often. And I feel like you might have some issues getting your hand really low. Thankfully, your chosen champion in this deck is very good and allows you to discard 2 cards from your hand, so you always get to have that start and play every game, so that really does help you get to those low hand sizes and to get your discard payoffs whenever you need them. But once you've used up or lost that champion, there's not too many other cards in the deck that really fuel the deck the way it needs to be fueled. The Jinx pre-constructed deck is, in my opinion, the worst of the 3. It's not very good at all. It really doesn't showcase Jinx's abilities or why you should play Jinx. And as it is, Jinx is a lower tier leader, but she still is viable. You could still definitely make a competitive Jinx deck. The upgrade this time around is going to gut this deck quite a bit. We're going to be cutting the 3 Gust, the 2 Get Exciteds, we're going to be cutting the Scrap Heap, we're cutting the 3 Fighter Flights, the Cemetery Attendant, we're going to be cutting the Void Seekers, we're going to be cutting the 3 Raging Souls, we'll be cutting the Fading Memories, we're cutting the Blazing Scorcher, Undercover Agent is cut, Brazen Buccaneers are gone, the Magma Worm, and the Rasa the Sunderer. Our chosen champion is remaining the same, and for our battlefields we're going to be dropping the Targon's Peak and the Reaver's Row. Here is the upgraded Jinx list. We packed in 9 epic rares, so your wallet might be crying after this one, but I do believe this is one of the best ways to build the Jinx deck, and you really do need many of these cards to take advantage of Jinx to the fullest, especially her signature spell. Let's go over the list. The chosen champion has not changed. We've still got Jinx Demolitionist in there. She's just really good for what the deck wants to do. You get to start with her in your hand basically every single game, and so whenever you draw these different discard payoffs, you have this card in tow ready to get those cards into the bin and be able to take advantage of their effects. There is a Chaos Jinx that's pretty good too, but I think that Demolitionist is the superior chosen champion, so no need for an upgrade this time around. We have 3 copies of Seal of Rage. Seals are notably not that great in many decks. However, Jinx is a deck that functions really well on low resources and wants to get to low resources, so a free card is great at getting you to a low hand size and allows you to draw back up a bunch of cards while having a bunch of seals. Normally this card is only able to get you value if you draw it in the early game, but in the Jinx deck it doesn't even hurt you drawing it late game because it's just a way to get your hand low so that you can keep drawing additional cards. We've added in 3 copies of Stacked Deck. This is just a good cantrip card. It's Ponder from Magic. You get to look at the top 3 cards and put one in your hand. Just helps you set up and grab whatever you need. We've added in 2 Cleaves. This is just one of the best aggressive spells in the game. Gives your guy Assault 3. Helps your smaller units win battles or trade with bigger units. We've kept in the Traveling Merchant at 2 copies, which is just a great 2-drop that acts as a discard outlet and also helps you draw cards and can even draw you cards when you have no cards in hand. We've upped Vi Destructive to 3 copies. This is just one of your best finishers. It's one of the strongest 2-drops in the game, and she's part of a 2-piece combo in this color combination that helps close out games from 6 points very effectively. 2 copies of Flash. This is just a spell that helps you save your units at reaction speed and then pushing back points on your turn using their high assault values. 2 copies of Ride the Wind. This is the only card in your deck that costs chaos power, and it's the other piece to the 2-card combo that works with Vi. Ride the Wind helps you pull off the Vi the Wind combo where you play this on your Vi, sending it up to a point after it's been buffed by its own ability, smashing through that point, and it's still readied because of Ride the Wind's text, so then Vi can use her ganking to smash into the other point with all of her power and take both points and close out the game. We've added in a couple copies of Falling Star. You have seals, and even if you didn't, this card is just so effective and powerful at what it does. Even though it can set you back quite a few ruins, It's still just strong, and you really need to run some amount of copies of this. We've added 2 copies of Legion Rearguard. This is just another great 2-drop that has Accelerate, can help close out some games if you really just need another quick unit to go take a point for very cheap. We have a 1 of Unlicensed Armory. This is just kind of like a set effect, except on a gear. The gear allows you to discard cards to save units, so it acts as both a value system and a discard outlet at the same time. We kept in 3 copies of Chemtech Enforcer. This is just a great discard outlet and a really powerful 2-drop that can break over any other 2-drop in the early game, even the ones with shield. We have 3 Immortal Phoenix. This is just a value engine card. You can discard this with your discard cards and then use your removal spells like the Super Mega Death Rocket to continually bring this back whenever it dies, and it assaults for 3, so it's just really good at taking points. It just basically lets you play on really low resources, but constantly have a stream of creatures that keep coming back and threatening points with high might pressure. We've kept in the 3 Flame Chompers. This is just one of the best payoffs for being in the discard deck. It lets you summon a 3 might creature essentially for free. This card just adds so much might and pressure to the board, especially if you can get it off in the first couple turns of the game. Noxus Hopeful is essentially a 2-cost card if you've played one of your other many 2-cost cards in your deck. It allows you to play a mid-range body very cheaply, and is just another cheap card to help you dump your hand quickly so that you can take advantage of Jinx's ability. Super Mega Death Rocket is Jinx's signature spell. This is one of the best reasons to be in Jinx. You deal 5 to a unit anywhere. That's just such a strong line of text. Even if it didn't have anything but that, it would still be a decent enough card. But this second line actually lets you keep getting this card back. Whenever you get a conquer somewhere, you can discard a card to add this back to your hand, so it acts as a discard outlet itself, and it also helps you blow things up to keep bringing back your Phoenixes. So between Phoenix and Death Rocket, you just have this constant stream of like, you're shooting things with the rocket, bringing back the Phoenix, and then when you take something with the Phoenix, you can discard another card, maybe like another Phoenix or a Chompers, and then get back your Death Rocket, and you're just getting so much free value out of all these cards synergizing together. Super Mega Death Rocket is just everything that this deck needs. You absolutely need 2 to 3 copies of this in every Jinx deck. And finally, we added in 2 Darius Trifarian. This is just a great closer, a really strong mid-range unit that readies himself very easily, and is just so good at closing games. This guy is pretty much in every Fury deck, and for good reason. For the ruin count, we did tweak some numbers around. We put in 9 Fury ruins and only 3 Chaos ruins. Again, we only use Ride the Wind, so we don't need a lot of Chaos ruins. This deck mostly functions on Fury. And with the battlefields, we left in Zon Warrens because of course that card is great in this deck. It helps you discard cards. That's exactly what this deck wants to do. The battlefields we added in were Windswept Hillock, which gives your units ganking. It just helps you take a lot of additional points and apply a lot of pressure really early. And the Arena's Greatest, which is just a really great aggressive battlefield, lets you start with an extra point and be that much closer to getting 8 quicker than your opponent. Aggressive decks love this card, it just speeds up the clock so much. Overall, I think this is one of the best ways to play Jinx. If you have the epics to put it together, I would definitely give it a try. I think this deck is really aggressive. It can definitely get some wins and take down some tournaments. Maybe even get top cut at a major if you got the right matchups. And that's going to conclude our starter deck upgrade guide. Now that you've upgraded to some competitive lists, you're ready to take on the world of Riftbound. Links to the upgraded deck list will be posted down in the description if you want to go ahead and take a look at those in more detail. If you have any thoughts or comments you'd like to share with us, just leave them in the comments below. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. And if you like what we're doing here, please subscribe for more. If you're looking for more in-depth analysis on these deck lists and more, we are going to start dropping deck guides very soon, so keep a lookout for that. Till next time.